Hello out there, everyone. Today I'm going to be reviewing Contagion, directed by Steven Soderbergh and released in 2011, so over 10 years ago. Hard to believe. And of course, it has a great cast: Marianne Cotillard, Matt Damon, Lawrence Fishburne, Jude Law, Gwyneth Paltrow, Kate Winslet, and Jonathan Hawkes is in it. It's a terrific film. Soderbergh, I give this guy, the director, a lot of credit. He really researched how a pandemic would spread, how it could start and how it could spread, and what would happen as a consequence. And as such, it really, it watches like a documentary at this point. I think it's the only thing it ironically didn't get right was the assumption that people would be clamoring to get the vaccines. As if you recall, at the end there was a lottery system issued to administer the vaccines, and everyone was keen to get that. And of course now we've got a third of the population who basically just refuses to get the vaccine, and as such it is allowing the virus to mutate and to spread and to continue to wreak havoc on our health and the economy. It's really quite frustrating because for those of you who are wondering, well, have vaccines ever worked? Well, polio, measles, mumps, rubella, smallpox, it works when everyone gets vaccinated. It doesn't work when you have a large subset of the population that refuses it. And so apart from that, this movie basically gets everything right, including the Jude Law blogger character who, I remember at the time reviewers were saying, oh, he was over the top, that was just not believable, and how wrong those critics were. I mean, basically this was Mr. Hydrochloroquine, and everyone that peddles that nonsense. It isn't to say that there aren't bad actors no matter where you look, and certainly moneyed interest has its own agenda. I don't deny that as well, but I do think that the level of rigor that is subjected upon drug companies that have to show safety and efficacy is far greater than any anecdotal one-off case studies that are often used to justify other methods. And it's not to say that those methods might not work, it's just that your sample size is too small. And the one thing that the government does do right, and the FDA does do right, is they require large, well-controlled phase 3 clinical trials. And that's a hell of a lot more data to look at than a handful of cases. That's really the big difference between sort of anecdotal accounting and well-controlled phase 3 trials that have strong statistical power. So in any case, this right here is a very good film. It's a little too close to the bone. I remember seeing it in theaters and thinking, wow, that was pretty scary, not realizing that a mere 9 years later we would be experiencing one. And then of course to watch it again just as the pandemic was raging was a bit of a perhaps leaning into it, as it were. But I did find that the film was incredibly prescient and extremely accurate. I think there's maybe only one or two scientific mistakes in here, but other than that, it's legit. And again, kudos to Soderbergh for taking the time to actually get proper counsel, seeking the CDC's guidance on how a scenario like this might unfold. And it reminds me too of another film that came out earlier. I believe that was in '95, was it? Outbreak, with Dustin Hoffman and Rene Russo, and I remember the cast was fine and had a few moments, but even back then I thought, this just feels a little hokey to me. It was entertaining, but certainly not very plausible, whereas this film is entertaining and very plausible, and obviously turned out to be quite prescient. So it's definitely a flick to watch, but if you're in a bad way and you're maybe needing something a little lighter, then perhaps don't look to this. I don't know that it's gonna help your mood. So on that note, take care everyone, until the next time.